They said her future was limited. They said love would never choose her. But one single father, carrying his own scars, walked into a billionaire's world and changed everything forever. Stay till the end, because this story proves that real miracles don't come from money, they come from the heart. Before we begin, if you believe in emotional stories that heal the soul, inspire love, and remind us of humanity, subscribe to Black Inside USA. Your support helps us share more stories like this. Marcus Hill had learned early in life that strength didn't come from muscles, it came from responsibility. At 38, Marcus was a single father raising his 7-year-old son, Noah, in a modest neighborhood just outside Atlanta. His mornings began before sunrise, his hands rough from years of honest labor, his heart shaped by loss he never spoke about. He worked as a private rehabilitation technician, helping people relearn movement after life had knocked them down. Some called it a job. Marcus called it purpose. What most people didn't know was that Marcus once had dreams bigger than survival. He had studied physical therapy while working nights, but life changed the day Noah's mother passed away suddenly. From that moment, Marcus became everything: father, protector, provider. Love had taken a backseat, until fate knocked, the daughter behind the gates. Across town stood the Whitmore estate, tall gates, white stone walls, silence heavy with loneliness. Evelyn Whitmore was 24 and had never known freedom the way others did. An accident years ago had changed her body, but not her mind, her dreams, or her heart. She walked with advanced leg supports, each step a victory the world rarely applauded. While her family's wealth opened doors for others, Evelyn's own life felt locked behind polite smiles and cautious glances. Her mother, Margaret Whitmore, loved her fiercely, but fear ruled that love. Fear of judgment, fear of pain, fear of letting Evelyn fall again. So Margaret built a world of safety, and unknowingly, a world of isolation. Evelyn didn't want pity, she wanted purpose, and most of all, she wanted to be seen. The first meeting, Marcus didn't know who the Whitmores were when he accepted the private consultation request. He only saw the note: young adults seeking advanced mobility rehabilitation, emotional support required. When he arrived at the estate, he felt the familiar weight of eyes judging his presence. Security watched, staff whispered, wealth hung in the air like perfume. Then he saw Evelyn. She stood in the driveway, determined, slightly nervous, but unbroken. Their first handshake was simple, but something shifted. Marcus didn't rush her, didn't speak louder, didn't soften his tone. He spoke to her like an equal. And for the first time in years, Evelyn felt normal. Margaret watched from a distance, her heart tightening, not with fear, but with something unfamiliar. Hope, trust built in silence. The sessions began slowly. Marcus focused on patience, not pressure. Every step Evelyn took was met with encouragement, not expectation. No cameras, no audience, no comparisons, just effort. Between exercises, they talked. About books, about dreams, about how loneliness felt heavier than pain. Evelyn learned about Noah, how Marcus braided his son's hair before school, how he read bedtime stories with different voices. Marcus learned about Evelyn's love for painting, her secret wish to travel, her fear of being loved out of obligation. Their laughter came quietly, but stayed long. The mother's fear: Margaret Whitmore had built empires, negotiated deals, controlled outcomes, but she couldn't control what she saw happening between her daughter and Marcus. She noticed Evelyn smiling more, standing taller, trying harder, and it terrified her, not because of Marcus, but because she feared losing control. One evening, she confronted him politely. "You're very good at what you do," she said, "but remember your place." Marcus met her gaze calmly. "My place," he replied, "is wherever your daughter finds strength." Margaret said nothing, but her hands trembled. When feelings begin, one late afternoon, after a breakthrough session, Evelyn stood on her own longer than ever before. She laughed, then cried. Marcus instinctively reached out, steadying her. For a moment, neither moved. The air changed. They pulled back respectfully, but the feeling remained. That night, Evelyn wrote in her journal, "He doesn't look at me like I'm fragile. He looks at me like I'm possible." Marcus sat in his car outside his apartment later, staring at his steering wheel, whispering, "This is dangerous, but love doesn't ask permission." The walls begin to crack. Evelyn's progress became impossible to ignore. She walked farther, she stood longer, she laughed louder, and for the first time since the accident, she began making plans. Not medical plans, life plans. She talked about opening a community art space, traveling, teaching children who felt unseen, Marcus listened, never interrupting, never correcting. He saw her future clearly, but Margaret saw danger. One evening, she stood alone in Evelyn's room, staring at old photos, before the accident, before fear ruled her heart. That night, she made a decision. The confrontation. Margaret invited Marcus into her private study. No assistance, no pleasantries. I need you to step away from my daughter, she said calmly. Marcus felt the weight of the words, but not anger. Is this about her progress, he asked, or about your fear? Margaret's voice cracked for the first time. I almost lost her once, she whispered. I won't risk losing her again. Marcus nodded slowly. I'm not here to take her away, he said. I'm here to help her become who she already is. Margaret looked away, but the seed had been planted. A love unconfessed. Marcus decided to keep his distance. Sessions became shorter, conversations quieter. Evelyn noticed immediately. One afternoon, after a session, she finally spoke. Did I do something wrong? Marcus struggled for words. This isn't about wrong, he said softly. Sometimes caring means knowing when to step back. Evelyn's eyes filled, but her voice stayed strong. I don't need protection, she said. I need honesty. That night, she stood alone on her balcony, supported by the very strength she fought to reclaim. And she made her own decision. The moment that changed everything. The Whitmore Foundation hosted its annual charity gala. Media, donors, influence filling the room. Evelyn insisted on attending, on walking in herself. As the room watched in silence, she took step after step. No spotlight, no announcement, just courage. Then she reached the microphone. My life didn't change because of wealth, she said. It changed because someone believed I was capable. Her eyes found Marcus across the room. And I want to choose my own future. The room erupted in applause. Margaret stood frozen, then slowly began to clap. Tears streamed down her face. A mother's surrender. Later that night, Margaret found Marcus alone. I was wrong, she said. For years, I confused control with love. She looked him in the eyes. Thank you, for giving my daughter back to herself. Marcus nodded respectfully, but before he could speak, Evelyn approached. She took his hand, firm, steady, unafraid. I don't need permission, she said gently. I need partnership. Marcus smiled. For real this time. When love chooses you. Months later, life looked different. Evelyn opened her art space, accessible, inclusive, alive. Marcus brought Noah to visit every weekend. Laughter filled the rooms. One evening, as the sun set, Evelyn stood beside Marcus. I don't need saving, she said. I just want to walk beside you. Marcus took her hand. I don't need fixing, he replied. I just want to love you honestly. They kissed, not as a miracle, but as equals. The true meaning of miracle. The miracle wasn't walking, it wasn't wealth, it wasn't strength. The miracle was choice. A woman choosing her voice. A man choosing love again. A mother choosing trust, and a future built, not on fear, but on faith. Some miracles don't arrive suddenly. They grow, through patience, respect, and love. And when they bloom, they change generations. If this story touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe to Black Inside USA. Your support helps us tell stories that inspire, heal, and unite.